Hello, my name is Lisa Liu. Today I'm going to share with you some tips about how to care for orchids. Almost everybody I know loves orchids, but they get discouraged and frustrated when they cannot provide the care their orchids need. And it could be a heartbreaking experience. So quite often I was asked how to care for the orchids. I have been having orchids for over 10-15 years, and I have some personal experience I'd like to share with you. These orchids, I bought them before Christmas. Now it's May, and the white ones are in their second bloom. And if you care right for your orchids, they will reward you with very long-lasting bloom. It's really worth it. I said the orchid is the most rewarding plants you can have. How to care for them? First, all plants, they just need water, sunlight, and some nutrients to grow. The most important for orchid is the proper watering. Normally, I water my orchids once a week. I don't put water from the top to the bottom like regular plants. I water them by using a tub. I use a tub, fill up with some water, and I feel, you have to touch and feel. If your orchid is dry and you take it out and there's no weight, that means it's dry and thirsty, and then you just put it in the tub. Give it a couple of hours time soaking, so the media, either it's pea moss or bark, will absorb enough moisture for the plants. Orchids, they like moisture, but they don't like to be wet. So quite often the reason you kill your orchids is you overwatered it. For a short period of dryness for orchids, it's good. They need to have this completely dryness, and then you give water, so that gives the chance of the plants to breathe. Because orchids is considered as airy plants, they have roots outside the pot. Those roots can breathe. If you get too much water, the roots will rot, and then that is the reason you kill the orchids. After 2 or 3 hours of soaking, and you take it out, you can feel the weight. That means the media has absorbed enough water. You take it out, shake off the extra moisture, put it back in the pot, and make sure your pot doesn't have extra water in it, and that won't cause any disease or damage to your plants. Second, orchids need sunlight. Normally, under natural condition, they bloom from January to May, April, May. And sometimes my orchids could last till August. And you can see this is the second bloom. When the orchid is done with the first bloom, you can chop off the branches of the bloom, leave some distance to the next second bud. And this is the buds that the new shoots could start to develop. This is where my second bloom started, and it could produce another flower branches, and it gives you second bloom. This bloom might last for another 2 or 3 months, and so you pretty much have this orchids blooming for probably 7-8 months.
So you cut off the top part that we see?
Yes. The part was cut off already.
Oh, okay, and another branch came out.
Yes, that's right. And in winter months, because the sunlight is not very strong in every household, you can put it just to your window, but make sure the temperature is not too low. If you have very cold draft, you have to keep your orchid away from that. Between 20 to 25 degrees are the perfect temperature for the orchids to grow. And the other thing is feeding. How do you feed your orchid? I don't really feed my orchids too often. They are very light on fertilizer. but you can buy the fertilizer from garden center if you want to feed them. Normally, they can absorb nutrients from the air by their roots and their leaves. I hope these tips help you, and you can enjoy having beautiful, rewarding orchids in your house. Thank you for watching. If you like my video, please subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can send me a message. I'll respond to you. And see you next time.